Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday, and welcome to episode 2 of Use a Lie podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Woodson, and I have something very important to discuss today. What I want to talk about is the current state of the country. I love following politics. It's become something that I absolutely enjoy participating in. If you know me personally, you probably know me from cannabis and doing some political work there, and I just have a love for it. Today, I was lucky enough to be invited to go down to our state capitol with Rep. Joseph and Rep. Ricks, and they had a press conference regarding immigration and what's happening right now in our country. And I just want to point out several things for you in the next 30 minutes. And so I'm going to get right into it because there's a bunch that I want to say and that I want to talk about. First off, the first thing that I want to say is that, all hope is not lost. There are a lot of despicable, deplorable things that are going to take place during the next 4 years during the Trump administration. And the reality of it is that there's a deep-seated level of hatred in the country, and it was what the country was founded off. I love to point out that the people that were spitting on people at lunch counters and hosing people down and putting dogs on them, those people are still alive. A lot of them are still alive, and a lot of them have children that have children that have children. So hatred is something that's definitely taught and moves from generation to generation to generation. I want to tell you guys, put on your big boy underwear and your big girl panties, because imagine what Dr. King had to go through. Imagine what Rosa Parks had to go through. Imagine what Harriet Tubman had to go through. You see her on the back of my wall. I love that picture with her gun out ready to go. So we are definitely still fighting for freedoms, but we have come a long way, and there has been tons of progress. And so it's very important that we don't start to believe that progress hasn't occurred. And I guarantee you, when these 4 years are over, there'll be new executive orders and things will be put back into place. But what I really want to talk about is what I went to the Capitol today to be a part of a press conference for, part of the community, with these amazing women that are, making sure as immigrants that immigrants aren't harmed. First of all, I'm a child of an immigrant. My mother is from West Africa, Liberia. She met my father in Los Angeles, California. They married. She became a permanent resident, and I was born here. So I'm literally a child of an immigrant. Now, my father was born here, but my mother was not. So, to even think that someone is trying to create, and I want people, I really don't want this to go to my people that believe in what I say, but the people that voted for Trump, I want you to really try to explain to anybody that has a heart, that has common sense, and that has dignity, and that believes in God. How can you possibly say that if someone was born in the United States of America, they've lived here all their lives, but let's say their mother was from West Africa, Liberia, that person should no longer be a citizen and should be deported back to Africa where they've never been before? That is really what's happening. And this is the example of him, attempting to overrule the Constitution and make changes that are going to be found unconstitutional. I believe that even though the Supreme Court is predominantly a Trump Supreme Court, at the end of the day, the rule of law is the rule of law. And so I always have hope in humanity, although I've seen a lot of things that makes it hard too. But I want you to have hope as well. I also want you to know that, it's just not right. And that's the reality of what's going to be happening. There's people that have been here since they were children. They've never been to other countries. Some of these countries are war-ridden. Tell me on a daily basis as an American, whether if you're black or white, what do you do on a daily basis where you don't encounter an immigrant? Like the concept that people have, and I really truly believe that it's deeply rooted in lack of money, lack of resources, lack of education, lack of opportunity, where you believe that an immigrant that's working minimum wage, doing jobs a lot of the times that you don't want to do, but they are so intricate. They are in every fabric of our lives. They're in every fabric of our lives, from every sector, whether it's healthcare, food and beverage, hospitality, travel, transportation, entertainment. They're in every sector of our life. So explain to me how this person is stopping you from living your American dream. They're not. And this is what I want to really hit on. As Americans, I don't know when we decided that celebrities were like the most smartest, important people because they have more money. And that is a fundamental problem, is that we idolize people because they have money, regardless of what their principles are. And I believe a lot of people that are Republican, they know deep down inside that Trump stands for hate, but they would rather go with him because they feel like he upholds white supremacy as opposed to doing the right thing. Well, guess what? You're never going to be in the Trump tax bracket. A lot of them aren't. When you look at his cabinet, it's the first time where, he has 13 millionaires being a part of his cabinet. So you have now people that have the smallest group of people that have the most money in the United States, really making people believe that immigrants are your problem, that LGBTQ people are your problem, that black people are your problem, that diversity, equity, and inclusion is your problem. And to all the white women that voted for Trump, you are the people that benefit the most off diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. And that is something that is not often discussed, because a woman is considered to be a protected class and considered to be a person that has been discriminated against, a white woman specifically. So when you talk about, not earning it, and, diversity, equity, and inclusion didn't earn it, it's like, stop. These are the best of the best. You're happy to see affirmative action go because why? You don't want anybody else besides white people to have an opportunity. You're happy that DEI is going. You know how many people are going to suffer from that? There's a lot of white people that run DEI programs federally, on a federal level. You're happy that everyone has to be deported. You can say, as a God-fearing Christian, because a lot of people in the party like to say that they believe in God, that it is okay to come into a birthday party, come into a funeral, come into a church, come into a school. I read an article today where Colorado is making a plan for what they're going to do about kids. You're talking about, what are you talking about here? You're talking about cruelty. You're talking about hatred, and you're talking about a fundamental belief that if it's not white, it's not right. And anybody that wants that to make America great again, yeah, it's going to happen maybe the next 4 years. But the bottom line is that the country is progressing. The races are mixing. People are understanding, especially these new age kids. I think Trump is like, oh yes, young people voted for me, and blacks voted for me, and Hispanics voted for me. They voted for you because they think that you can save them, because they don't have a clear understanding of what the reality of this thing is. And once they realize that you're not going to make their gas prices go down, you're not going to make their eggs cheaper, you're not going to make their situation better, because why? The minimum wage is too low. Why? College education is too high. Why? The average person in the United States of America is reading on a 6th and 7th grade level. These are fundamental things that happen when every single thing that a person should have access to at no cost is capitalized. And so the root issue here is capitalism. That's why you can't live your American dream. It's not immigrants. And if you believe in God, because I really want to talk about God. If you believe in God, you really have to ask yourself, I supported and I voted for someone that allowed 1,500 people that assaulted police officers, assaulted our Capitol, first time in forever, attacked our Capitol, tried to hang and would have killed legislators if they were there, to just be freed out of prison for political reasons. You have to think about, I voted for a president that truly, truly, truly believes that he pulled himself up from his bootstraps when his father was wealthy. Elon Musk didn't come from poverty. Bill Gates didn't come from poverty. Mark Zuckerberg didn't come from poverty. These people that you're putting on these platforms and acting as if they're so rich and they're genius, they already had the right recipe to get them to where they are. And just because they have a shit ton of money does not make them moral authority. It does not make them capable of helping all. It really, 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 and let me tell you, I used to be totally against this type of thinking where in order to be like super duper rich, you have to screw over people. I always believed that is not the case. But I will tell you this, at 41, in all the circles I've been in all the opportunities that I have, the constant thing that I notice is the person with the most money is the person that's being the most ruthless, that's lying the most, that's conniving the most, that's making backdoor deals, that's not honest, that's extremely cutthroat,